What's up, guys? Mr. Dan here, back again with another 5 minutes or less review. This week we're looking at the classic sci-fi film The Day the Earth Stood Still from 1951, directed by Robert Wise, starring Michael Rene and Patricia Neal, also starring Hugh Marlowe. Take a look at this poster. From out of space, a warning and an ultimatum, and that's essentially the plot. The film opens up with and some of these scenes were surprisingly effective. I mean, I've seen a lot of alien invasion type films and a lot of classic 1950s sci-fi. But this is the one that set the standard for this type of opening, where a spacecraft essentially enters our atmosphere and just simply sets itself down in Washington, D.C., where this figure emerges on a mission of peace. Of course, before he can do that, the spaceship is surrounded by police and the military, which in real life were Virginia National Guard members with their tanks. The federal government did not want to cooperate. There was some concern that the message of peace that the film is advocating was actually would be considered to be like weak, as the Cold War was going on. The Korean War was actually hot in the newspapers at the time, and a lot has been written about how science fiction films of the 1950s exploited Cold War fears. So this film pretty much set the standard for that. So great opening scene. The character of Klaatu escapes from the hospital and takes someone's identity and essentially becomes a boarder in a home where Patricia Neal lives, and they begin sort of a relationship. She's a widow. Her son becomes fascinated with this stranger who has diamonds. He's got a pocket full of diamonds for currency, and he trades a couple of them for $2 with the little boy. They go visit the Lincoln Monument and all kinds. It's really some pretty good scenes. And essentially they get in contact with a professor, and Klaatu actually helps him solve an equation that has something to do with space travel. So this guy is kind of modeled after Albert Einstein. So then, instead of going through the governments, which are not cooperating with his desire to get to address the entire world at one time, as some governments will not cooperate and not every country is a member of the United Nations, he decides to go through these scientists. But unfortunately, the government is on his tail and tracking him down, and he has, of course, this famous robot sort of sentry / enforcer who will spring into action to defend him if necessary. The famous scenes of the visor opening up and the laser shooting out of the eye. Still very effective. The cast is really good. Michael Rene, once you see him in this role, this is the kind of movie where you cannot imagine anyone else in the role. He has these angular features, his mannerisms, you almost believe that he's from another planet, and he's very highly intelligent and he can figure things out very quickly, but he doesn't really know all the customs of Earth. And he was actually a British stage actor primarily at the time, which is why he was chosen for the role. So he would be someone who was largely unknown to American audiences, representing a visitor. And the robot Gort is played by 7'7" actor Lock Martin, who suffered from gigantism, which meant that there was a catch-22 here. He was quite tall, but he was actually kind of disproportionately weak. So the scenes where he's actually carrying Patricia Neal, they had to use a gurney and, different perspective shots to pull that off. A great film with a great message that still is in many ways applicable to today. Highly recommend it. Even if you've seen it or you think you're pretty familiar with it, if it's been a few years, go back and check it out. Great performances all around. Many of the scenes still hold up today. They're still effective. What are your thoughts about The Day the Earth Stood Still? Let me know in the comments below. Highly recommend it if you haven't seen it in a while, or if you've never seen it. This is sort of a landmark sci-fi film, certainly in the top 10 of the 50s and possibly of all time. So you need to check it out. All right. Thanks a lot. Later. Oh, one more thing. Klaatu Barada Ikto. Later.